Ever try to pair wine with sweet corn? Me either, but we're gonna figure it out today.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it here.
Welcome to Wine Bites. If you're new to the channel, I'm Josh, and I'm here to help you figure out which wines pair with your food. Before we get too far into the video, shout out to Malia Schulte 4030 for today's request. Corn is a summer staple. As the days get hotter, the corn gets sweeter. I could have gone a couple different ways with this. A fully loaded elote, or maybe some creamed corn, but these come off more as sides instead of a centerpiece dish. So today we have a spicy corn and coconut soup. Shout out to my incredibly talented wife for preparing this dish, which is from a New York Times recipe, which I'll include the link to in the description below. I talked a bit about congruent and contrasting flavors in my Popeyes video. I'll link to that below as well. Well, today is all congruent pairings. That means that I'll be tasting wines with similarities in taste and texture to the soup. And specifically for this pairing, that means sweet and creamy. First up, our expert wine, a Napa Chardonnay. This can be a little bit of a polarizing wine, as the warm climate and some of the common winemaking practices can lead to an oaky, buttery type of Chardonnay that people either love or hate. And I'll be honest, it's not the type of wine that I reach for if I'm having it on its own, but with a rich, creamy, sweet soup like this one, I think it'll show up really nicely. Today we're bringing a classic, the 2017 Farniente Chardonnay from Napa Valley. For our crowdsourced option, we have a Chenin Blanc. Chenin is actually a really good value because it's not as popular as Chardonnay, but really good versions can be mistaken for it. That means you'll want to keep an eye out for it on restaurant wine lists. The most popular region for Chenin Blanc is the Loire Valley in France, but today we have the 2018 MAN Family Wines Chenin Blanc from the coastal region of South Africa. South Africa has really consistent high yields of Chenin Blanc, which means great pricing for us. Last up, our Wildcard wine, which today I'm calling, wait, they're the same grape? For that, we have a Demi-sec Vouvray. And I know that may sound completely different from our crowdsourced option, but they're actually both made from Chenin Blanc. French wines are often named after the region they're from instead of the grape that's used in them. So there's usually a little bit of translation that's involved, aside from French to your preferred language. Even more fun with words you may not have heard of before, we're introducing levels of sweetness with the Vouvray. For this one, we have a demi-sec, which translates to half dry, aka we have a little bit of sugar. Today we have the 2019 Domaine Huet Le Mans Demi-sec Vouvray from the Loire Valley. All right, the wines are prepped. Let's see if any of these are a perfect match. We are gonna go from lightest to heaviest, so that means we're starting with our crowdsourced option, the Chenin Blanc. All right, so that's not bad. The stone fruit from the Chenin Blanc definitely matches with the sweet corn flavors from the soup. The texture is the aspect that's kind of lacking. The Chenin's a little bit light, whereas the creaminess from the soup overwhelms that a little bit. I think that this would be a better wine for maybe a grilled corn on the cob. All right, next up, we're gonna have our expert pick, the Chardonnay. That's a really good Chardonnay. I am really enjoying that. This one is having the opposite situation from the Chenin Blanc. So the texture matches perfectly with the soup, but the fruit flavors are not bright and bold enough to match up against the sweet corn. And so that's definitely overpowering it. I think this would be better maybe with a roasted chicken, something like that, but just not enough sweetness for this dish. Last up, the Wildcard wine, the Vouvray. Okay, so I was actually wrong about this wine. I said that all three of these were gonna be congruent flavors with the soup, but while the sweetness does align that way with the corn, There's a nice acidity that's adding a contrasting aspect that's refreshing my palate for the next bite. And it's actually working really well. I think it's the best one out of these three. We finally got one. We have a wild card winner. I didn't think it was gonna happen with sweet corn, but I guess since I didn't know what to pair with it in the first place, that makes the most sense. So if you're gonna have a creamy corn soup like this, definitely make sure to pick up a Demi-sec Vouvray. You'll be very happy you did. As you already know, wine is subjective. The only thing that's constant about it is that it tastes good and it gets you drunk. So try these for yourself and let me know if you agree with my assessment in the comment section down below. Also check out these key descriptors to pick up wines like these for yourself and have a similar experience. If you enjoyed this content, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more food and wine pairings. I'm really enjoying the requests, so please continue to let me know of any other dishes that you'd like me to try to pair wines with in future videos. Until next time, happy pairing!